G'day, Blue Baggers, and welcome to Blues Footy Live. Your host, Jed Zetzer here, and I'm alongside my co-host, Harrison Hymans. Bolt, welcome.
Zoot, how are we?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not bad. Oh, I was going okay, and then I just read the team. Sheet.
Talk us through it, mate. What are the changes?
I'm not well. So it's Williamson, Casbolt, and Newman back into the 22 for Zach Williams, who was suspended for being an idiot. Doherty, bad injury, out for the season, and Murphy, very annoying, injured as well. So 3 bad outs, I guess. Williamson, Casbolt, Newman into the 22. So I'm very disappointed.
So you obviously wanted to stick with the one ruckman, yeah?
Yeah. Well, we've because I think one ruckman that we played last week's been better than the 0 ruckman we've been playing throughout the whole season. And, we honestly get a plank of wood coming back into the team who's just going to slow us down. He's going to hold up play. He gets in the way. For me, I thought we were past, Casbolt. I thought we were over that. So it's very disappointing, in my opinion.
I guess we're coming up against 2 ruckmen. Does that make any sort of difference?
Well, for me, it shouldn't, because last week, Phil Thorpe was kind of the pinch-hitting ruckman. I guess these two are, a bigger presence. But I just think, we've almost got to think about ourselves here. And, I think Casbolt is more of a hindrance on the balance of our team. I'm happy to cop losing, or being at a disadvantage when the second rucks enter the stoppages compared to the disadvantage we're going to receive around the ground.
Fair. No, it's fair. So what changes would you have liked? Who are you disappointed not to see come into the team? Because, Doherty, Murphy, and who's our third out again? Yeah, they were always going to go out. So who did you want to come in alongside Newman?
Okay. So I still think it's time for Honey. I still don't know why I still don't know why he hasn't been even tried. I just don't understand it. So for me, I would have liked to have seen him in. And I guess Doherty playing on the wing, as much as I can't stand him, I thought Cottrell was going to come in.
Okay.
I just think, and I agree with Tim there. We did lose nothing with Silvani in the ruck. There was no, obvious, discrepancy when Silvani went in, because Silvani's been pretty poor around the ground. So I don't think it was an issue, pulling him into a few stoppages here and there. So, I'm actually bewildered that they've gone back to Casbolt.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So you're yeah. Look, it's an interesting conundrum. I was sort of, I don't know. I felt like Casbolt was always going to come in. To be honest, looking at Fremantle's ruck situation, Darcy, and obviously Lob, it's quite tough. We probably need a second ruck, but we looked as dangerous as we have all year, and we scored 8 goals on the trot with a shorter team last week. We looked more dangerous up forward. I didn't think it was an issue.
No, I agree. I'm just very disappointed. I just think, I don't know. It really bugs me. But even though they've got the 2, I think we have. This is almost a game of weighing up. What's the word? You got to weigh up the pros and cons here. I think what Casbolt, the disservice Casbolt does around the ground, outweighs the disservice that Silvani will do as a second ruck. That's my issue with playing Casbolt. I just think we have to look at this broadly and take the greater perspective that he gets in the way, just, and it's probably going to close. How threatening did Martin look last week as that second tall? He had a lot more footy going to him. It really bugs me, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, Martin was great. Martin was great last week, and you'd love to see him playing that role again. It's a good comment from Justin. Blue Baggers, let us know your thoughts on the team changes. Pop a comment in below and we'll read it out. Bolt, let's take a look at this matchup. So how do you see this game panning out? Where's it going to be won?
Well, I've actually just looked at their changes. So I actually didn't even realise Taberner was out. He went off early last week. I should have known that was coming. So Taberner out, Fife in, which is, obviously as good as Fife is structurally, them losing Tabner is pretty good for us. Where's the game we won? Well, look what happens when the midfield gets on top last week. We speak about how the midfield gets demolished more often than it doesn't. And obviously, Cripps and Walsh were really good. And we had some, standout performances from, I guess, the lesser likes being Dow and Kennedy. So, I think that's where we're going to have to go again. We're going to, Brayshaw, Fife, Chera, Sarong, these guys, we pants them in round 3 through the middle. We absolutely, gave them a hiding, really. So that's where we go again. We took control of that game very, very quickly. And unlike the Adelaide game, we maintained control throughout the game on the scoreboard. We didn't let them back in. So I just think it's the same thing again. Don't play catch-up footy against Freo.
Yeah. No, it's that's fair. That's fair. So do you think, how do you think Fremantle will line up in the forward line? Because, we speak so much about their 2 rucks. With Tabner out, there's every chance that Darcy's the stay-at-home forward this week.
He will, yeah. And, I think Darcy and Lobb will still rotate. They've still got Josh Tracy as well in the teams. He'll play at full forward. But that's what they'll roll with, the Tracy and then Darcy/Lobb. And then you've got their little plebers like Switkowski and Schultz. And I don't think – is Frederick in the team? Because he killed us in round 3. Frederick, he was really good against us. I don't think he's in the team at the moment. And I think Collier's in the team. So, they've got a little mosquito fleet of their own that can pop up and kick a couple. But I think it will be Jones on the resting ruckman, Wiedering on Tracy.
Fair enough. There's another tweet here about Honey. Is Fisher must still be injured?
Yeah, he must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must be. But I think Honey, I think, we're 5-9. So I just don't see, and not that that's an excuse, but I just think, he was the sub against Hawthorn. He's been the emergency countless times. He played 1 game last year. I think we're almost doing him an injustice, not giving him an opportunity. Even last week, he probably should have got the opportunity, really. But, I'd like to see him in the side.
Yeah, same. So the 4 emergencies, is it Honey, O'Brien, Cottrell and Ramsey?
And Parks, not Ramsey.
So Ramsey isn't even an emergency after his match last week?
No.
So I was at the game. Ramsey was far and away our best player on the ground. It doesn't make sense to me that that's a bit rattling. Parks and...
You watch the VFL every week. Tell us what we can expect from Tom Williamson coming back into the team.
Well, I don't know. I like Williamson. But he's had a terrible year. Let's put it bluntly here. He's gone back to the VFL after having, his breakout year last year, and hasn't pledged a case for selection yet. This is purely based on positioning, I think, with Doherty going out.
Has he been playing that deep role, or is he just going to slot in on the wing for Doherty? Like the role we thought he might transition into this year?
Well, I think either him or Newman will take Doherty's role, and whoever doesn't will take that half-back flank role. Well, Williams is out as well, we've got to remember. So we lose...
Does it mean Petreski-Seaton might shift back for the week?
No, I don't think so. I think... I don't know. I think, Newman came on as the sub. I think Newman takes Williams' spot on... I think Newman goes wing and Williamson plays on the half-back flank.
They don't really have that third tall, so you can kind of get away with Plowman, Sard, Williamson being those 3 smallish defenders on Switkowski, Collier, and Schultz. But the issue is that when Fife rests forward, that's probably where Plowman... It might even be Jones, to be honest, when Fife goes forward. But that's probably the only spanner in those works, I think, defensively.
Yeah, this is really weird team selection this week. I'm quite perplexed by by everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just frustrating because I think it's, when we play this, and you said it last week, you don't even care. It's the fact that they're playing the same brand of footy throughout the whole season. So when we divert from that for a week and we win and play with a bit of personality, and straight away, the first point of asking, we go back to what we did the first 13 rounds, it is frustrating.
so frustrating. It's just last week was probably the most creative, imaginative brand of football we've played all year, wasn't it?
Oh, for me, it wasn't the best win we've had this year, but it was a lot of personality. There was just a lot of flair about us. We looked, half threatening, which I enjoy. It wasn't, the bland win against Hawthorn. It wasn't the shocking win against Gold Coast. It had a bit of oomph about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super interesting. I just hope we I don't know, mate. I think there's been opportunities the last fortnight to make some really bullish team changes and give some kids a crack. And we've stuck to a couple bland changes. I mean, the fact we've only had one debutant this year as well, I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. I guess we only had the two in the national draft, but yeah.
I was pretty convinced Ramsey was going to get a crack this week. I thought, Williams, Doherty, Murphy going out, they'll give Ramsey a crack, especially considering he was best on last week, had a really good stint earlier in the year. I thought this was the week. But no, and he isn't even an emergency, which I'm still baffled about.
How's Brodie Kemp been looking in the twos?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think with Kemp, he's only played a handful of games. You'd imagine he's still a while away, needs to find his feet. But, he's playing in the back line. To me, his size, he's a bit of it's like a key defender almost.
So that was my next question. So if Brodie Kemp plays, let's say round 22, round 23 this year, as in what role do we even expect for, like, I've never watched, I can't say I've really watched him play. But as an outsider to the Carlton reserves, I know you watch him every week, he appears to me as a bit of a floater.
Yeah, I think he's got a role established in the team, and that is playing off the half back line. He's the size of a key, but he doesn't. I mean, he can play key, but I feel like he plays as a bit of just like a floating half back player. But I think the goal there is to get him into the midfield. I mean, they're going to start him there. I think they eventually plan on rotating him through. I mean, we've essentially traded that pick to get Stocker, who we called a midfielder at the time, and he's in the back line. And we've done the same with Kemp, who we called a midfielder at the time, and he's in the back line.
I know, it's a bit frustrating, isn't it?
But the game's going to be at the G. Interesting. It was going to be in Tassie. Then it was going to be in Geelong. It's landed up in our backyard.
To be honest, from a Carlton perspective, it's unbelievable. But I think it's a disgrace, the games at the MCG, to be honest. I think the AFL should be looking at, I know sometimes it's difficult, but I just think, games like that should be as neutral as possible. From a non-biased point of view, I think it should be as neutral as possible. And people argue, we lost our home game against West Coast. Well, imagine if they moved that game to Perth. They didn't. They played it on neutral territory at the SCG. I just think a game like that should be in Geelong. It should be. I know they can't get into Tassie now. Even Ballarat.
Did you hear Simon Garlick?
I did, and I know they said they're happy to play at the MCG. Blah blah blah.
I think Freo were consulted. I think they were pretty keen. I think that was where they were keen to play, was the G.
I think after Tassie wasn't an option. They were keen to play at the G.
Well, I mean, if they've chosen the G over Geelong, well then.
I know. I just think me. I get very, fussy with equity like that. But from our point of view, I only care about Carlton right now, and I'm stoked about it because it's a game we shouldn't be losing. It's a game we should not be losing at the MCG. Yeah,
look, no, Freo, I mean, they're keen to play there. They said they're, percentage out of the 8. They're percentage or a game out of the 8?
Percentage. It's a massive game. It's a massive game.
I mean, if they're going to stick around if they're going to make finals, they need as much experience playing on the G as possible. By the sounds of what he was saying, they're pretty eager to play at the G. So it's a win-win for both teams. Got a feel for Tim. He bought cheap flights to Launceston.
I'm pretty sure one of ours is the same thing.
Hopefully you can get the vouchers, mate.
You'll be right. 100% you'll get the vouchers. But yeah, the week I was already Googling things to do in Launceston, and I tell you what, there wasn't much, but I was very keen for it.
Yes. Yeah, no, it would have been great. Bolt, let's talk about tipping. Who are you tipping for this game?
Who did I tip last week? Did I tip Carlton or Adelaide last week? Where's he gone? Something's happening at his door. Well, I can't remember who I tipped last week, but gee, I don't know where he's gone. But no, I am confident this week. It's all good.
The dog's barking and trying to get into the room, so just had to let him out.
You've got to control that dog.
Well, what's the tip, Bolt? Last week you tipped.
Did I tip Adelaide last week? I think I might have.
I reckon you did, because I remember you tipped us to win the 3 weeks we lost. And then the one week in Adelaide we win.
I just had good feelings about those 3 losses, but we should be. I think we'll be okay on Saturday night. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna tip Carlton. I think we're looking good. I think Taberner out is big. I think that the matchup looks good for us. This is interesting. Why won't they give O'Brien a chance? Well, O'Brien's out of contract at the end of the year, so they should be giving him a run. He deserves an opportunity to have one last crack. I don't know. It would be a great disappointment if he didn't play again for us and he was just delisted at the end of the year. That would just be disappointing, considering, we gave up a top 10 pick to draft him. To me, that would just be disappointing. But I don't know. I mean, we're not inside the 4 walls of the club. At the end of the day, he may just be that far off it. I think a lot of people are saying,
how astounding would it be if he didn't play another game this year and stayed on next year?
Well, I think it's a chance of happening just quietly.
That would be 2 games in 2 years, as in...
I think the club could take the approach with him that, we're keeping him next year regardless. Let's not rush him in. Let's try and play the long game, maybe.
Yeah, I know. Well, next year's year 5. For me, that's the extra long game.
O'Brien's a really interesting one because there was a point in time, it was 2019, I think, where he put in a couple of okay games together. Like, he looked competent enough at the level. He was getting a bit of pill towards the back end of that year. And then 2020 came around and, he was replaced by Nunes, and that was that.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I don't hold much hope for him going forward. I think, if he hasn't... For me, the most concerning thing is he played round 1. We haven't seen him since. And in terms of Tony's question here, I've gone through so we're 5 and 9. I think in the most ideal of ideals, we go 11 and 11. And that's losing to Geelong and Port Adelaide and winning, because the others are all, 50-50, very winnable games. I think that, nothing's ideal with Carlton. So I think realistically 9 and 13 we end up, which is about where we're at.
Yeah, he'd love to get to the double digits though.
Yeah, if they can get to 11 and 11 and 50-50 it for the season, it's an improvement on last year, winning percentage-wise, 100%. 9 and 13 is about where we were last year. I think 11 and 11 would definitely, what's the word? I think it would relieve a lot of, pathetic form earlier in the season. But I think they won't get to that. I think about 8, 9, 10 wins they'll get to.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But H, he's still leading the Coleman.
Yep.
Alex Pearce in for them?
He is. So
that's going to be the matchup, you'd think.
Yeah, it will be. We didn't have to get Pearce last time, so that'll be interesting for H. No, I'd like H to just take the game by the screen. His goal kicking's been a bit off the last 2 weeks, which I haven't appreciated for my Coleman bets. But no, we can't have these. I don't mind him snapping, but not from 45 out. But no, I think we just need a game from H. break the game wide open, my man.
How many did he kick against Freo last time? Was it 7?
7-5.
So, they're going to have their hands full on him again.
Yep, no, they will. It just has to be as direct as possible. Get it to him. Isolate him. Quick ball movement. That's what it is. As soon as we look static and slow up the ground, they're not going to score. It's just got to be quick, one-way trade. Route 1 to H.
Yep, absolutely. Bolt, let's quickly talk about, let's ask the people watching, send in any questions you'd like us to answer, and we will do so before we end the show. But Bolt, this week, any particular players that you are looking at, putting the microscope on and really focusing on their matches? Who's under the microscope this week?
Who's under the microscope? Well, you're a tennis fan, aren't you? So when you break someone's serve, what's the next thing you have to do after that that's just as important?
You got to consolidate.
And Paddy Dow has to consolidate.
I like it. I mean, I agree. How big would it be if Dow went back-to-back and had another huge game?
It'd be massive. Be bad for my ego. But, after playing, let's be honest, his first, really good game in his career, it'd be the best thing for him if he went again.
Yeah, and I like this from Peter, SPS as well. SPS, we sort of spoke about it. I feel like with Petrevski-Seedon, he played okay last week without being amazing. I think if people are getting really excited by Petrevski-Seedon's match last week, it's not much, I don't think. I think we need to see a lot more from him. Do you agree?
Well, he didn't influence the game. He's always been tidy with the ball as per se, but no impact like Dow's breakout game was last week. But we'll see. I think another one, Cripps and Walsh were unbelievable. And I think, was it Jones when we played Freo? I think they were the 3 big ones, last in round 3 when we played them. So, and they were all spectacular last week. So, you just got to get lift from those guys. No Doherty, we lose a bit of ball winning ability. Curno's probably got a lift after last week as well.
The one I'm looking forward to watching is Matt Kennedy because, mate, he backed it up last week. If he can go 3 in a row, tell you what, it puts us in a bit of a situation regarding his contract. He's out of contract. His papers looked signed. He's come in and put in a fortnight of, 2 really solid performances, brilliant performances. If he can do a 3rd one in a row, I mean, have we maybe found a little hidden gem from within?
Well, the issue was he played really good games in round 6 and round 8 last year against Western Bulldogs of the North, and he was dropped by round 10. So that's the issue with Kennedy. I think, one-off game and out you go. So I just think for himself he needs to play well. But I don't know how his contract's going to go for next. I think there's going to be a couple surprise exits from our list at the end of the year. Guys that we've seen play regular, guys that we've seen play quite a bit this year, I think will go. And Kennedy just might be one of them. But he has been good. He was brilliant against Greater Western Sydney, and he was good against Adelaide. So, there's not much more he can do. He's just got to keep doing it. Yep,
absolutely. And I agree with Paul. SPS's disposal was much better last week. It was. Look, I think Petrevski-Seedon's match last week was definitely better than what we've seen from him earlier this year. But it still wasn't. It wasn't what Dow did. It wasn't. As good as Dow's.
No, Petrevski-Seedon's still a long way off.
Bolt, let's ask the Blue Baggers tuning in to comment your tip. Who's going to win and by how much, Blue Baggers? Let us know, and we will read out your comments. Bolt, so you're going Carlton. How much are we going to win by?
Well, this is technically an away game. So the last 2 times we've played them away, Murphy with 30 seconds to go, Nunes after the siren. So... hopefully we don't get down to. Hopefully it's not that close on Saturday night. But I think I like Adams there. Blues by 14. I can see that. Something around that vicinity.
I'm going to go Carlton by 3 points. That's my famous tip, is the 3 points.
So are we coming from behind to pinch it, or are they just edging closer and we hold on? What's the narrative?
The narrative is it's going to be a bit of an arm wrestle, and I think that we'll have a really good second or third quarter, take a 5-goal lead. They'll chip away, they'll get real close, and we'll just hold on. I don't think we'll kick a game-winning goal. I think we'll just defend a 3-point win.
I'd appreciate it. It'd be good heading out on a Saturday night with that under our belt.
I think it will be similar to our game against Adelaide. That's how I see it unfolding. Very similar game. I think we'll have a big run and take our foot off the gas as we usually do. I think that's sort of how it'll unfold.
It'll be very interesting. We do need H to kick a bag. We do need him just to go nuts. We'll see what happens.
We will. Blue Baggers, thank you so much for tuning into this week's edition of Blues Footy Live. Bolt, I look forward to seeing you at the game on Saturday night, and we'll be back to do it all again next week.
Get your tickets, people. They're out tomorrow. I want to see navy blue at the MCG. I don't like empty stand.
Fill up the G with navy blue. That would be awesome.
Enjoy, Zoot. We'll see you soon.
See you soon, guys. Go Blues.